in radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. The date is February 23rd, 2016. Election. It's on everybody's mind. Tonight is or are the Nevada caucuses. And former Congressman John LeBoutelier is with us now to give a postmortem of certain dearly departed candidates. And John, it's great to have you back on.
Kerry, great to be back on. I don't think I've been on since before the holidays, I think.
Yeah.
So it's great to be back.
Yeah, been a while, but you've been busy. What's your take on the election now that Jeb has departed and we're left really with 3 guys? And what's going to happen here?
Well, maybe 4. And actually, we should talk about all 5. There's obviously
right.
Trump way ahead, and then Cruz and Rubio effectively tied. Kasich behind them, and coming up last, but not going away, is Ben Carson. And even he's worth talking about because he's getting 5, 6, 4, 7, depending on the state, %. And if he were not to be in the race, where do most of his votes go? And I'm guessing maybe most of them would go to Ted Cruz.
Think?
Yeah, I think they're Christian, born again, true believers. And they're not. I don't think they're going to go to Rubio or Kasich. I think if Kasich goes out, most of his support goes to Rubio. And I think that's what we're talking about is shrinking the field down to 3. It'll be Trump and Cruz. They're not going out. And then one other guy. And, it's either going to be Rubio or Kasich. And we're going to know this by the night of the 15th, 3 weeks from now of March, because by then, all 3 of these guys, Kasich in Ohio on March 8th, next Tuesday, March 1st, for Texas for Cruz, their home states. And on the 15th is Florida, where obviously Rubio is the sitting senator and running in 3rd place behind both Trump and Cruz.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Kasich is 6 points behind Trump in Ohio at the moment, but I have a feeling that he knows how to win a primary in his home state. He may pull that out. But if they lose their home states, you could effectively say their campaign's finished. Yeah. That's why this race is barreling to something on March 15th.
Right. I mean, Florida is really it. I mean, Florida
on the 15th,
is it.
And Rubio has to win that. I don't even know by then if he will have won anywhere. He's competitive in Minnesota for the caucuses next Tuesday, March 1st. And he's competitive in the Colorado caucuses. But we'll see. Trump is really ahead everywhere. And the thing about Trump is he's got 35% nationally among Republicans, and Kerry in almost every state. He got 33% or whatever in South Carolina the other day. You could effectively say he's got 35% locked down everywhere, which is dynamite for him in a multi-candidate field. But the polling has shown that if he goes one-on-one with either Rubio or Cruz, they beat him quite big. They beat him like 53-40 one-on-one. So he's at 35 now. He inches up to 40 when it's one-on-one, but he doesn't get anywhere near 50. And what that tells us is that the majority of Republicans don't want Donald Trump. They don't want him. They want one of these other people.
Well,
but whether they get that chance, they got to whittle this field down.
Yeah, well, it's not getting whittled down till after March 15th at the earliest. And so it's a little late in the game because most of the states that count are going to be decided by that point. And Florida is really the one that Trump has to win. If he wins Florida, he's going to be virtually unbeatable because these guys, who's going to give up, Rubio or Cruz? Neither of them are going to just give it to the other one. They won't do it. And unless there's major pressure brought from the establishment Republican Party.
Well, I don't think even that exists anymore. I don't think that pressure that we've all talked about, I don't think it exists in the modern era because there isn't a boss or a one guy who can say, pick up the phone and call the candidate up and say, I want you out of the race today. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's true.
And Cruz wouldn't listen anyway. And Cruz has raised an enormous amount of money in his super PAC, in his campaign, and is built for the long haul. So I think he's going to win Texas next Tuesday, his home state.
It appears.
Which is a winner-take-all, huge amount of delegates. He's not going to be dead if he wins Texas. If Kasich wins Ohio, he keeps going. If Rubio loses Florida, and he's way behind at the moment, I don't see how he goes on after that. What's his rationale? I can't win my home state. I'm not winning anywhere else. I don't see it.
Yeah.
So if I had to bet on who goes out first or who fades first, I would bet Rubio fades because I think he's the one who can't win his home state. The other two, I think, will win their home states.
Well, I don't believe that all of their votes automatically go to one candidate, John. I think.
No, I don't either. But I think about 80% of them do.
The
polling has shown that the Cruz voters, their second choice is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's second choice is Cruz. That's where they're in the outsider lane, and those voters like those guys second.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Carson, they tried to get Carson out of the race last Thursday night in South Carolina. Cruz and Carson and Rubio were speaking at a values conference in maybe Columbia, South Carolina. And when they were both there, Cruz invited Carson to talk to him privately in a utility closet.
Yeah, I heard that.
Later as a broom closet. And they had a half-hour meeting one-on-one in this closet with the Secret Service stationed outside.
Mm-hmm.
And it went badly. Carson's pissed off at Cruz for leaking out the fact that they had the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Kerry, what we can assume is it was Thursday night before the Saturday South Carolina primary. And what Cruz was doing is he's saying to Ben, look, Ben, you're not making it. Get out tomorrow, Friday, and throw your support to me.
Yeah.
And that would have been a big, big boost to counteract Nikki Haley coming out for Rubio.
What's he offering him, though? What is he offering him? He's got to give him something. He's got to give Carson something, Cruz. I mean, Carson's just not going to leave. He's going to get something, a cabinet position, VP.
Well, he can't promise that. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, he could say, I'll consider you. But the thing that's motivating Carson, it doesn't get reported, is why his campaign has faltered, is all his staff has quit.
Yeah.
Senior staff in the campaign and the PAC has all quit over the last month. And the reason they quit, Kerry, and the media doesn't get this, is Carson has a business partner who you and I may have encountered. I have, Armstrong Williams.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right.
And Armstrong, he's sort of half running the campaign, but he's actually making money with Ben off the campaign. They do books, speaking tours, and the big moneymaker is renting out Ben's campaign fundraising lists. And they are
pimping them out,
fortune they're making a fortune as a business off of this that will dry up if he drops out of the race.
Yeah.
So they're not running to win. They know they're not going to win. They're running to make money.
Well,
and since 2011, I think it was reported, when Ben Carson started being on Fox all the time promoting books and talking about himself, how much money do you think Ben Carson personally has earned in those 5 years?
It's got to be tens of millions of dollars at least.
27 million.
Yeah.
$27 million bucks. And so I think the normal motivations that would get someone out of the race, like they're running out of money, their campaign's running out of money, that's not applying here because his campaign isn't spending much money.
Right.
The staff has all quit. They haven't replaced the staff.
Mm-hmm.
They've filled in a few slots, but they're running a bare bones operation. They're not trying to win. They're just trying to survive.
So it's a corporation parading as a political campaign effectively.
There you go.
So if we look at the GOP primary schedule, all right, so March 1st, right around the corner. Assume that Trump will probably get Nevada today. A good possibility. I mean, overwhelming favorite. So we go Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Georgia, Massachusetts, where Trump is at 50% in the polling. Minnesota, iffy. Oklahoma, little iffy. Tennessee, you could pretty much say that Trump is a wrap in the South. Vermont, they've got 16 delegates, and Virginia. Yeah. So he's going to take I don't know how many, if there's 10 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I think there are 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
he's going to take 10.
That he's going to take 10, and Cruz might win the other 4. Rubio might win Minnesota because he's been ahead. It's a caucus, you don't know.
Yeah, caucuses you don't know. So then,
hey, listen, it would have surprised me if Trump won all of them. No.
Okay. So then the 5th. Okay, that's 4 days later. We got Kansas, Kentucky, where Trump is supposedly losing. Louisiana, he's probably going to win. Maine, probably win that. And then the 6th is Puerto Rico, which doesn't really matter. And then we get to the 8th, Hawaii, Idaho, Michigan. He's way ahead in Michigan. Mississippi, he'll take that. Idaho is a question mark. Hawaii will probably take that. Then the 12th is D.C., 19 delegates, doesn't matter. Then the 15th, Florida's the tipping point, 99 delegates. And if
Winner
he takes Florida,
he takes all.
And Illinois, 69, he'll probably win there. Missouri, good shot. North Carolina, he's got a lock on the South with the exception of Texas. So then we get to Ohio, where it's a toss-up, and the Northern Mariana Islands for a whopping 9 delegates. I say by the 15th, this thing is over, because if he takes Florida and Illinois, he's got such a commanding lead in delegates that he's virtually unbeatable here, John, because they can't coalesce behind Cruz if it's going to be Cruz that winds up being the sole opponent, the remaining opponent. There's not enough time to coalesce behind him. And at that point, you know that Carson hates Cruz, really hates him, probably more than he hates Trump. And this is the time for Trump to go make a deal with Carson. I mean, hey, art of the deal, right?
Right.
So I think by the 15th, it's over.
I go with your analysis, but then my gut says, it's a funny year, and I don't think it'll happen that way. Even if all that you said does happen.
Yeah.
I somehow think that someone's going to emerge here as an anti-Trump, because the party doesn't want him. The majority of voters don't want him.
I don't know about that. I mean, it might appear that way, but there's a lot of polling. What happens if Rubio drops, and what happens if Cruz drops? And, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion here that this is a ceiling.
I think what you often find in these things, you saw it back in 1976, for instance, when Jimmy Carter came roaring out of nowhere and zoomed ahead. And then they started having some buyer's remorse in the Democratic thing. And Jerry Brown came on strong, and he was late into the race, and he started winning. He didn't win the nomination.
I remember, yeah.
They had second thoughts. I think there'll be second, third, and fourth thoughts to Trump. I'm telling you, there's the fact that he can only get 35. It's great to get 35, but he doesn't go up above 35.
Yeah, right? Well,
I think that's a major problem.
But there's also the thing of he's won 2 primaries so far. He's lost the Iowa caucuses. All right, he's probably going to win tonight, so he's 3 out of 4. And then he goes on to win all of these, or the majority of the primary states.
With 35%.
But everybody likes a winner. And once he's perceived as the dominant force and the winner, I think a lot more votes come around, John.
Yeah,
I really do.
But, I mean, why hasn't it happened after 3 contests?
Well, I mean, there's still a split on the vote. You still have a choice, but I don't think that Cruz is electable, and talk about that the party hates a candidate. The dislike of Cruz is palatable everywhere you go.
You're talking about establishment officials, party officials hate Cruz. I'm not saying the voters hate Cruz. They don't hate him.
I think there's a lot that don't like him. The religious right loves Cruz, but where's his appeal past that? I don't see it. I don't see him having an appeal. And if Rubio is going to be eliminated, like you're saying, and it goes Trump against Cruz, I just don't see Cruz. He's starting to get defined as a guy who will do anything or say anything to get elected. That thing that happened in Iowa where his people said Carson dropped, so vote for Cruz. A number of other events that have occurred since then. The guy is starting to get a very unctuous reputation here, and he's getting defined.
Well, that's true, but he doesn't have the negatives that Trump does. Trump has the higher negatives than Hillary Clinton. He's got 28 positive, 59 negative.
I will bet you a dinner here, John. Next time I'm in New York, that it's going to be Trump. And look,
I'm not arguing. It won't be Trump. I'm
the loser gets to pick.
We're 3 weeks into this thing, and everybody is just saying it's all over.
Yeah.
In a year when nothing has gone according to Hoyle.
Oh, I agree.
So, I don't think it's over for Hillary being the nominee, and I don't think it's over that Trump is the nominee.
Yeah, so let's talk about Hillary.
And by the way, just to throw out, we can have our opinions, but the polling shows among Republican primary voters, one-on-one, they pick Cruz 53, Trump 40. Not even close. One-on-one.
Well,
so
like you say,
that's why Trump profits from having many people in the race.
Yeah, well, the GOP
he doesn't want one-on-one.
Well,
with either one of them.
The exact thing that they designed to get Jeb Bush in there, the whole roadmap to getting Jeb Bush in, is now working to Trump's benefit. So it's the ultimate irony, isn't it? Because Bush never had more than 20% support in the party. So these vote splitters were all designed to keep the opposition muddled, to let him get in the early ones. And then as they drop, he becomes the inevitable candidate. And it really failed miserably. But it's working to Trump's advantage now, which is the ultimate irony. So best laid plans of mice and men, John. Right.
So Kerry, how do you see, if it is Trump and Hillary, what is your thoughts on how that goes in a general election?
I still don't believe it's going to be Hillary. I don't believe it. I've never believed it. And I think weird stuff is going to happen. She's not going to be the nominee, whether it's health or whatever. There's so many issues. But if it is, when they're at the debate and he says, Hillary, why aren't you wearing pinstripes? Why aren't you wearing, an orange jumpsuit? Look what he did, John. Look what he did when she played the sexist card on him. One tweet destroyed her and Bill. And the enthusiasm for another round of the Clintons there, I just don't see it. Now, granted, I'm not a crazy progressive who wants everything free handed out to me, so I'm somewhat biased, I'll admit, but I just don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah. All right. So we don't know how she gets out, whether it's an indictment or a plea bargain to get her out so she doesn't get indicted. I've thought all along with the same thing, that she wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
In which case, who is the Democrat? It won't be Bernie Sanders.
Biden. It's got to be Biden or Bloomberg. And Bloomberg, I don't think anyone wants him. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say it's Biden, which is what Obama wants.
Yeah. Very
Biden
much.
for the Democrats, Trump for the Republicans. Who wins that race?
I got to believe it's Trump, because Biden, his quirks could be accepted as a vice presidential candidate and as VP. But, hey, we're 8 years later now, and he hasn't gotten any better. So it's going to be real difficult for him to win this thing, because he's just not right,
He's such a dreadful candidate. Yeah. God. And here's what the race would be. It would be, do you want a third term of Obama?
Right.
Or do you want a complete change? You want the anti-Obama, the mirror opposite, which certainly Trump is in every way. Strong where Obama's weak and decisive and all that. I think I agree with you. Although, you get told things like, well, he's got a huge gender gap against him. The Hispanics don't like him, blah, 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 blah. Where is he going to get the votes? And that's what we don't know.
Well, but a Trump candidacy, at least in theory, puts New York into play and several other states that are solid blue. Really, I see Trump probably being real strong in Florida. I think that a lot of those states that they counted on, that they've been counting on, that have helped them win the past two elections, not so much anymore. So, yeah, the whole thing is fascinating. I agree with you. There's a possibility that the nominee will not be Trump. I totally agree with you that it isn't going to be Hillary, but you never know. Those Clintons have a way of avoiding any consequences for their actions ever. Why should this time be any different? But, John, they're really, if you look at Bill Clinton, he looks like death warmed over.
I know.
He looks like he could be drooling. And Hillary, she gets a little bit feisty at times, but, there's health issues, the glasses, she's not with it. A lot of health rumors swirling around her, so you got to wonder.
Which is a convenient thing if they want to get her out of the race with a threatened indictment.
Yep,
they
absolutely.
can say to her, look, we'll make a deal with you. Get out of the race and we don't charge you.
Mm-hmm.
Which
exactly.
prosecutors often do. So they could do it, and she's got the built-in excuse that she's coughing and she doesn't look well half the time.
Really looks awful.
Cites her health and drops out, which so far she's telling people, I'm going to keep running even if I'm indicted.
Yeah, well, that ain't going to happen.
I don't see it.
No, that's
she
absurd.
Could. Now, the other thing we got to mention before we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the former head of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, Michael Flynn, who was in under Obama, he came out and said Hillary should suspend her campaign till this investigation is over and she's been cleared.
Mm-hmm.
And that got very little coverage, of course, by the media. If it was a Republican, they'd go crazy. But this is big stuff because it tells me that the intelligence community, CIA, DIA, NSA, all these, there are like 13 of them, they're up in arms and ready to go really up in arms against Hillary if she's not charged. They know what she did. To them, it's a very egregious thing, Kerry, to screw around with classified intel cavalierly like she did.
Endanger spies' lives. I mean, that's what it appears now.
Totally. And I think if the FBI recommends charges but Obama doesn't proceed with it, there will be a mutiny in the intelligence community about it.
And the Justice Department.
That maybe. I hope so. But after all, a lot of them are Obama political appointees. But the intelligence community predated. They were there before Obama, and they're going to be there after Obama. They're permanent employees. They're not appointed by a president. They're military guys and spies and analysts and all. And Obama will only have 6 months left anyway. They don't care about him, but they don't want to work for her.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't want Hillary to be their commander-in-chief after having behaved the way she did. And I think that's coming this spring or summer. I tell you, a revolution in the intelligence community where they go public with this thing.
Yeah.
And that could KO her right there.
Yeah, she's got so many things that can derail her candidacy. Her hold on the lead is very tenuous. And hey, they might just, the Democrats might just wind up having to fold everything and just go with Bernie, knowing that he's going to be McGovern too. I mean, what are they going to do if he gets the bulk of the delegates and he makes the magic number, which I don't remember what it is? How do they stop the guy, John?
God knows. And he beats Trump in the polling.
I don't believe it.
He beats all the Republicans. Well, that's as of now.
Yeah, because you and I could beat them too if they were polling. Because hey, unknown entity, or Larry David, the Larry David effect on the election, I would call it.
Yeah, I just cannot see a 74-year-old
commie,
lefty commie from Vermont. It's not. Shouldn't be getting elected president. Let's put it that way.
No, those polls are like deeply flawed, small samples, bad sampling, and they're just agenda-driven polls. They're not real, but it's going to be interesting here, really quick, John. So I'm betting you a lunch on Trump here that he's the one.
Well, I'm not taking that bet. I'm not against Trump. I'm just.
I understand.
Don't get ahead of ourselves that this is a slam dunk for anybody, because it's not.
I agree. I agree. But with every victory, my point is the odds of him prevailing go up. And at some point, he becomes inevitable, At some point, he does become inevitable. I don't know. My guess is it's after Florida. He carries Florida, which is his second home state, and tons of New Yorkers down here. I just don't know that he can be beat after that, regardless of what they do. I think it's going to be too little too late. But hey, that's why we have elections to prove the pollsters wrong. And John, hey, tell us where we find you on TV and your website.
Kerry, every Sunday night, 7:30 on the Fox News channel, Political Insiders, live from 7:30 to 8. And you can read my stuff at johnlaboute.com, JohnLebout, johnlaboute.com.
And we should put in a plug for a book that you wrote the foreword on while we're at it.
Just came out. Yeah.
Just came out.
It's pretty good about the criminal, whatever the hell the book's called, about the Bushes.
The Bush
by Roger
crime
Stone.
family.
Bush crime family, yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I want to read it, definitely. I'd like to get Roger on here also, because he's just a fascinating character. And he's
running the Trump campaign.
Running the Trump campaign? I thought Rudy was running it. I thought, he's got his kitchen cabinet. It just came out yesterday. Yeah. And Roger is brilliant. He really is
brilliant. And he did this book and timed the book on the Bushes to come out the week of the South Carolina primary, which it did. He told me that he hears that Jeb is furious about the book. Oh. And lo and behold, 5 days. The book came out last Tuesday, a week ago today. And 5 days later, Jeb drops out of the race. And that's effectively the end of the Bush dynasty.
Thank goodness.
Thank God.
Oh, man, I don't think we could take anymore. And interesting thing is he pins a lot of money laundering allegations of Bush's, because Bush was fluent in Spanish. He wound up being associated with certain banks in South America that's sole purpose seemed to be to launder drug profits, which, hey, when you see CIA planes regularly crashing or getting pulled over and they've got like huge drug hauls, it got to make you wonder, right?
Got to make you wonder.
Who's running what?
We're
All right.
done with them, Kerry.
Okay. Over. Done with.
Talk to you soon.
Adios. All right, John. Thanks so much. Be well. Bye.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.